My name is Sheila Posada. I'm a candidate for the master's program at Lamar University with Education Technology. The field experience um, that my campus mentor and I discussed, one of the needs on our campus was for more cultural diversity and also to define what is cultural uh, diversity, what is culture, how is it related to our staff, to students, and to the community. After speaking with my mentor, um, we decided on a couple of key staff members that work with more of our diverse student population that would have an input with more um, culture and working with those students and um, asking the survey of them. In addition to that, we looked at some community members and we wanted to choose some community members that were active during the day, and then we have an after school program. So we sent out a survey and we had about six responses on who wanted to from numerous other staff members about what they felt culture was. That was one. And two, how were we uh, being aware or focused or sharing more uh, cultures from from what exists on our campus. So then next, um, my mentor and I, we determined the purpose and kind of put together what would be on the agenda. So one of our main things pulling from the survey was, what is culture and what is culture diversity and what does it affect um, on race or is it a factor? Two, we wanted to see how can we connect it with curriculum where it's seamless. And then three, we wanted to choose our target audience. Um, are we only going to focus on students? Would this be something with staff? Would this be something with teachers? Would this be community? What's the best way to move forward to introduce and implement? Okay, and then next, we talked about what do we already have? What do we have on campus now? Currently that addresses more cultural diversity? What do we have on campus? And what does the staff think we have? And compared to that, what do we need to do? What were some of the needs we would need to address? And then we talked about how long would the meeting last or our focus groups. So we decided to meet multiple times. And once we were ready to do some implementation or come up with some more plans, that would be the portion that I would actually video. And so we said during that meeting, of course, it had to be at least 45 minutes to an hour. But the other meetings prior to that were after school, maybe a quick 15 to 20 minutes. We did some through surveys to get information, just talking, just small amounts of meeting and compiling and researching before we actually did the videoing. Facilitator of the meeting, but put it on equal playing ground. She talked about um, sitting, talking, having more discussion, like not having it so formal where I'm standing and looks like I'm dictating. Make it more warm, welcoming, more open, so people can share more, can get more of their ideas out, and to be conscientious of not to um, give out more information. Try to question and go deeper and and listen to everyone's point of view, and then come to a consensus. So my method was. Afterwards, we decided to do so just to be anonymous. It's a small focus group. We can easily just send out a survey, an anonymous survey, and that way we can get feedback and see how to move forward, how to improve, or what our next steps were. Hi, this is my post-activity reflection on my leading video option number 3. Okay, the first question is I need to be able to provide a summary of the activity. And I need to make sure that I'm focusing a list of questions. So one of the first questions was the agenda followed? Based on the survey from the focus group, I had a very positive feedback. It felt like we were on task. We covered the agenda. I had one response kind of hop back and forth, but overall the agenda was followed. It was pre-planned with my mentor and I, and each person was distributed a copy to follow along. And then it says were the objectives of the meeting met. So the purpose of the meeting was to discuss cultural diversity and find out what are our main focuses. And after meeting with the group and during the video, we determined our main focus was to define cultural diversity and to bring awareness on our campus and try to implement it into curriculum that when we talk about culture, we're not only talking about the culture on our campus, diverse populations and celebrations of how we do that. Next, I talked a little bit about the survey. I see quite a bit of positive feedback on the survey, and it provided, um, they liked the idea that there was technology available for them. They liked the opportunity to have more discussions. Um, they did feel like it should have been more of a note taker. Maybe I should have signed someone that's a note taker besides myself. And I agree with that. I think I had to copy and keep checking back and confirming. If I would have had someone else to be the note taker, that's what I would have done differently. Maybe assign different roles. Um, yes, I knew I was a facilitator, but I could have given someone to manage the time. I could have had someone who was recording the notes. I could have had someone who's gathering resources. So when we meet again, I think those are some of the things we'll do to make it balance out and help keep us on target. Off like went a little bit too far left on the topics when we were talking about the Mayans and um, we were talking more ethnicity versus culture. So I just think that was like a big reminder. I think everyone came away with that. We need to make sure we keep in mind with that. Um, Everything else from the feedback was very positive. It felt like it was a very timely manner. Everything was structured. They enjoyed not having to handwrite the surveys, just that they can type it and do it at their leisure. And it was easy for me to get the information back and look through it and so the next section is my reflection on the experience of the activity. What went well? What went well was we came away with some powerful things to implement in the school. And we believe that some of those things can actually be implemented district wide. But we want to start with our campus first. And we felt like through that focus group and us starting small and we're providing the resources for teachers, that this will just uh, initiate more teachers wanting to become a part of the group, and maybe we'll set up some type of committee. Um, but I think we were being educated as well by differentiating the difference between ethnicity and culture. So overall, the focus group went well. We have like three different events. We're involving the community, the students, the staff, parents. It's just an all inclusion, and it's all about us learning. What would I have changed? The only thing I thought about, I don't know if it would have been appropriate or not. I didn't discuss it with my mentor. What I thought was maybe have some like a student council. We're coming up with all these great things that we feel like great things to do, but we never ask the students what would be some of their ideas. If it could trickle down to them and maybe they have a voice in helping um, with ideas, suggestions to come up. If I could change something, I would want to add a student's perspective in on it. What was surprising information that was revealed through this experience? Um, what was surprising was one, it was a little bit difficult to get people on board just to carve out the time, which I understand. Our campus is going through a big, not just our campus, our district is going through a huge transition. Teachers are having more work or new programs, new implementation, so they feel like, they have a lot of workload on them, and they just thought this is just adding something else. But I think after we got into the meeting and we started talking and sharing and researching, I think it came out to be something more uplifting, something encouraging, something that possibly change the atmosphere on campus. So I think that was what was surprising. Now, when I think about how this experience would transform my practice as a school administrator, is making sure I keep morale, making sure that when I'm implementing something, that I am mindful of staff's workload. I'm mindful of staff's other duties. So if we can make this a part of our campus culture, if I was the school administrator, I think that would be different, and I think I would. I think will affect my relationships with the community and the parents and the entire staff that I would have. So going through this, it'll let you know that um, you can have great ideas, but if you don't have support from your staff, or if the morale is not uh, great, then you have a low output. A lot of people not wanting to participate. So, administrator, I need to make sure that uh, the well-being of my staff, making sure morale is high, making sure teachers understand it's not about adding more, but I think the more that they would take ownership of it and they get involved, they'll become excited, engaged, and that trickles down to our students, to other staff members, to parents, and then ultimately to our community. Uh, I have to say, this was probably my most interesting project, and I'm looking forward to seeing it unfold and see what can grow from that.